The little sisters of Rapture are what keep Rapture turning. What do I mean by that? Well, first of all, they generate Adam, and that's something, as most of you guys know, that citizens of Rapture are addicted to. These cause plasmids like incinerate, telekinesis, electrobolt, etc. So, it's safe to say that little sisters are a very valuable asset when it comes to Rapture. What happens if you take them out though? For one, no more Adam. For two, no more plasmids or tonics. And then finally, number 3, you have big daddies that just wander around aimlessly doing routine things like fixing windows, etc. So, I decided in today's video that I'm going to tell you guys the story of the Little Sisters. If you guys do enjoy it by the end, would you kindly drop a like? If you're new to the channel, subscribe. So, without further ado, sit back, hit those lights, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Little Sisters, originally named Gatherers by the game developers, are young girls who have been genetically altered and mentally conditioned to reclaim Adam from corpses around Rapture. Little Sisters are almost always accompanied by a Big Daddy. They generally are immune to damage outside of being harvested and have no offensive abilities. Attacking them, however, will incur the wrath of their Big Daddy protectors. Adam is excreted by unique sea slugs found near Rapture. The Adam-producing sea slugs did not naturally produce a large enough quantity for serious research and commercial exploitation. Dr. Bridget Tenenbaum developed a procedure whereby a sea slug was implanted into a human host's stomach, and a symbiotic interaction between host and slug yielded up to 30 times the quantity of usable Adam. Female children, eventually known as Little Sisters after implantation, were found to be the only viable hosts. Although Tenenbaum hoped to be able to keep the children in a vegetative state, it was found that they had to be fully functional to produce the Adam. They still maintained many of the ordinary characteristics of small children: laughing, playing, smiling, and singing. Frank Fontaine created his Little Sisters orphanage in Apollo Square and other locations as a front to exploit the children as his supply of hosts for Adam production. When Andrew Ryan took over Fontaine Futuristics, he discovered the existence of the children. He found them appalling, but he had to accept the necessity of their existence to generate the quantity of Adam Rapture now required. It wasn't long before the entire city became aware of where Adam was really coming from. He shut down these false orphanages and continued to use the Little Wanderers Educational Facility to house the existing Adam hosts. With the city's Adam addiction epidemic and Adam's use to fight the Civil War, shortages were becoming crucial. Eventually, as the Civil War's body count grew and the shortages increased, a solution to get additional Adam led to using the children to obtain Adam from corpses. Little Sister Adam hosts were mentally and physically prepared for this grim harvesting role. Ryan, to negate the aberrance of the population, portrayed the Little Sisters in a marketing gimmick, their image being used on plasmid and tonic vending machines called Gatherers Gardens, and even produced toy dolls of them. Rapture public announcements introduced them as the salvation of the city, a reassurance of continuing Adam production. With the growing chaos of the Civil War, additional little girls started to be kidnapped directly from their parents. How evil can you get? Kidnapping a child from their parents just to make them a little sister. That's not right whatsoever. Dr. Yi Suchong, realizing the need for Adam was greater than the amount produced by the Little Sisters themselves, pioneered a way for them to recycle Adam from the blood of dead splicers, greatly increasing their Adam yield. Naturally, the children were unwilling to cooperate. To overcome this basic obstacle, Dr. Suchong created methods to mentally condition the child. This produced a neurological impulse to recognize the bodies of dead splicers as angels, to make the grisly process of extraction and consuming their Adam-rich blood appealing for the girls. Like many of the tools in Rapture, the Little Sisters' Adam extractor syringes were fabricated from common items, such as large needles, hose nozzles, and baby bottles. To make little sisters more effective in their task, they were heavily conditioned to see the world of Rapture very differently from reality. Instead of seeing the dark, deteriorated side of the city, they saw an idealized child's world, with rose marble floors, pink or red drapings, and flowering vines growing everywhere. Little sisters saw their big daddies as noble golden knights, and saw big sisters as brides or princesses with elegant ballroom apparel. Statues appeared to them as heroic plastic toy guns, and the dead bodies of splicers as angels, men and women lying in elegant repose with the outline of a halo and angelic wings surrounding them. Splicers themselves appeared as handsome and beautiful, taking the forms of elegantly dressed men and women in masquerade masks, conversing civilly, when in reality they were violent and were brought abruptly back to the grim, twisted reality of Rapture's decay whenever they were frightened or startled. This was also shown to happen while concentrating on the process of gathering Adam from a corpse. However, this could be due to Delta temporarily losing control over the girl while she harvests Adam. The Alpha Series Big Daddies were a failed line of prototype protectors developed first by Dr. Yi Suchong. The line was completed by Dr. Gilbert Alexander, using prisoners from Persephone Penal Colony as test subjects. The main difference between the Alpha Series and the other Big Daddies is the nature of their bond to the Little Sisters. Each Alpha Series was created with an unbreakable physiological bond to a single Little Sister. This bond created a failsafe, enforced by each Little Sister's pheromone signature. An Alpha Series that wandered too far away from his bond partner for an extended period of time would lapse into coma or madness. This bond proved to be too effective, however, as each Big Daddy in the Alpha Series became useless after his little sister was killed by attacking splicers or saved by Bridget Tenenbaum. Any Alpha Series model that was not rendered comatose as a result of his sister being lost descended into emotional instability to the point of psychosis. When the Alpha Series failed, it was discovered that previous Big Daddy models, such as the Bouncer and Rosie, could be used as more suitable protectors. With physical and neurological drives in place, the Little Sisters eagerly pursued gathering Adam and Rapture. The atom coursing through their bodies made them virtually indestructible, immediately repairing any damaged tissue. However, they still had the stature and strength of small girls, not to mention their constant hallucinatory state. Thus, they were a constant target for abduction and exploitation. Dr. Suchong, in light of the rising mortality rate of Little Sisters, initiated the Protector Program. This idea was to create a series of protectors that would defend the Little Sisters from splicer attacks so they could gather Adam without interference. This ambition proved to be more of a challenge than anticipated by the scientists, and numerous attempts were needed to find the right balance of atom-based conditioning in both the Gatherer and the Protector. Despite the tests and trials through the hands of a third party, the final key to the bond was found to be quid pro quo, as both discovery that one could not survive without the other. The results of the program had each Little Sister paired with a Big Daddy, a heavily spliced human test subject grafted into an enormous armored diving suit. After an unfortunate event leading to the demise of Dr. Suchong, the bond was further strengthened through conditioning employing pheromones. The pheromone produced by the Big Daddy attracted the Little Sister, and its counterpart, produced by the Little Sisters, instinctively drove the Big Daddies to defend them with their lives. Once Big Daddies came into full protection and production, the Little Sisters were also put through a course of Pavilion psychological exercises designed to force them into rejecting all positive feelings toward any mother-type figure, and instead place all of their affection upon a generic Big Daddy archetype. As a result, the little girls see every Big Daddy protecting them as the same person, and consider the mere mention of the word mommy to be taboo. Because of the pheromone and Suchong's conditioning regime, the little sisters are strongly attached to the Big Daddy, effectively calling them a number of pet names, such as Mr. Bubbles or Mr. B. When a Big Daddy is killed, the little sister will stop whatever she's doing to mourn his death. However, the strong bond between the pairs made the Big Daddies highly aggressive, prompting Ryan to issue public warnings against approaching any little sisters to prevent an accident involving citizens or interference. At one point in time, McClendon Robotics was tasked with creating a line of robotic little sisters to supplement for the human ones. However, testing trials revealed that the Big Daddies simply ignored the robotic gatherers, leaving them vulnerable to attacks by splicers. This forced the team to abandon the project and left an entire production line of robotic little sisters discarded in the offices of McClendon Robotics. Removal of the sea slug from the host under normal circumstances is fatal. Although the host doesn't die immediately, with their heartbeat still being able to be heard, it was likened to taking a patient off of life support. Their demise was inevitable. In a forced removal, a large amount of Adam could still be obtained from the sea slug. However, Tenenbaum's constant contact with the little sisters and their unsuppressed childlike behavior eventually caused her to seek a way to safely remove the sea slug. In time, she was able to design a plasmid with the ability to restore some characteristics of the little sisters' pre-slug state. This is, however, only a physical change. For example, the appearance and voice are returned to a natural state, they lose their Adam-producing ability and strength and healing factor, and are less prone to enragement and fear, recognizing the player as a friend. However, they still retain results of their mental conditioning, still treating Big Daddies as parental figures, seeing the world in a dreamlike wonderland with angels, and instinctively using vents or using their extractors to drain corpses of Adam. Presumably, the mental conditioning requires a different cure. Tenenbaum established a safe house for restored little sisters in the tunnels beneath Olympus Heights for that exact purpose. After the events of BioShock, Tenenbaum left to the surface, taking many of the saved little sisters with her. However, Sophia Lamb soon came into power in Rapture and later restarted the Little Sister program to supply the Rapture family with Adam and to further her own points. There were not enough young girls left in Rapture to supply the Adam cycle, and many of those who remained had matured to the point that they were only useful as big sisters. Lamb began a program of kidnapping young girls from the surface to convert them into little sisters. Taken by big sister protectors, these new little sisters were processed in the pediatric wing of the Persephone prison colony under the watchful eye of Edward Grimes and his staff of physicians. The new girls developed a unique physiological bond with Eleanor Lamb, who could see through their eyes and even control them to a certain extent. When Tenenbaum discovered the kidnappings on the surface, she immediately knew where the girls were being taken and what purpose they were to serve. She acquired a submersible and descended to Rapture, expecting to find the missing girls turned into little sisters, gathering alongside Big Daddies, so she began rescuing them again. Eventually, Eleanor contacted Tenenbaum through her connection to the Little Sisters, and they created a plan to save the Little Sisters and help Eleanor escape to the surface by resurrecting Subject Delta. After Delta was brought back to life using a Vita chamber in the Adonis Luxury Resort, the Little Sisters began to work with him, helping him to reach Eleanor at Persephone. Meanwhile, Tenenbaum reached out to other deactivated Alpha Series Big Daddies throughout Rapture, such as Subject Sigma, and asked for their aid in rescuing the remaining Little Sisters in the city. Each Little Sister is a young girl between 5 and 10 years of age. In BioShock, the Little Sisters had varying hair colors, but in BioShock 2, they were all brunette, including Sydney Meltzer, which I will be doing a video on soon. In-game, due to the time constraints preventing the developers from making her blonde. The girls' clothes are dirty dresses of various colors that reach just below the knees. All of the Little Sisters are barefoot while they explore the halls of Rapture, but before the riots they wore shoes, as evidenced in the opening cutscene of BioShock 2 and Burial at Sea. Due to their fast regeneration, they can walk on any harsh surface without problems. The little sisters are nearly invulnerable to damage while they have the sea slugs within them. When one is struck, her flesh will glow an unnatural golden color, showing the effects of fast regeneration due to Adam. However, even with the fast regeneration of Adam, the girls are still vulnerable. The little sisters can be killed by splicers who want to extract the Adam they contained by force removed of the sea slug, i.e. harvesting. Although little sisters are invincible, in quotes, and able to regenerate any damage, this invincibility is not perfect. An example of this is if the little sister were to break her legs, forcing them at odd angles. They would heal so quickly the bones would fuse at these angles. To be set right, they would have to be broken repeatedly due to the almost instant healing process. Furthermore, little sisters are not immune to the resulting pain. The only attack that can affect little sisters is the splash damage of a grenade. When a little sister is in the vicinity of a thrown grenade, she will become ragdollish and move with the splash impulse as she is briefly knocked unconscious. Then she'll stand back up. Little sisters can even survive being underwater. In Bioshock 2, there is one instance where the player can see little sisters underwater. If the player rescued all of the little sisters in Bioshock 2, then they are used by Eleanor to help boil away the water in the ballast chamber of Augustus Sinclair's lifeboat. In that scene, the sisters stay underwater for a prolonged period of time as they boil the water. Now, the last thing I'm going to be talking about within this video is something that if you've played Bioshock, you're very familiar with, and that is harvesting versus rescuing. So, harvesting represents the short-term solution. Not only will the player end up with more Adam than if they had saved the little sisters, but the first few levels of the game will be much easier to achieve. Coupled with the potential for sampling many different plasmids and tonics at once, this is the ideal strategy for someone playing Bioshock for the first time. However, the drawback is that this will lead to the unhappiest ending to the game. Saving, on the other hand, is a long-term investment. While it is harder to survive the first few levels with this path, it ultimately offers greater rewards. The tonics and plasmids the player receives are among the most powerful in the game and cannot be obtained otherwise. The Adam gap between a harvester and a rescuer, 280 Adam in total, is also compensated by these bonuses. However, these rewards may or may not suit one's playstyle, so it is recommended to either look up the rewards individually or play the game as a harvester first. This option is recommended for experienced players or for those who have already played the game. This strategy will also unlock the happiest ending to the game. Mixing both strategies is not excluded. By both harvesting and saving the little sisters, the player offers themselves a generous dose of Adam with unique plasmids and tonics to boot. The player only gets their rescue reward after saving 3 little sisters, so if one is feeling scrupulous, do so in blocks of 3, so as to get the reward as quickly as possible. This strategy will never get the player as much Adam as a harvester, nor as many unique rewards as a rescuer. However, with efficient planning and harvest/rescuing alternation, one can combine the advantages of both paths, making one's life easier during the first stages of the game while being able to be and use a Big Daddy as a bodyguard. This option can be taken by any type of gamer regardless of their skill or experience level. This path will also offer the player an alternate ending to the game, similar to that of the harvester ending, but less miserable. So ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for the story of the little sister. This one was a long time coming, and same thing with the Mark Meltzer and Sydney Meltzer video, which I currently am working on right now, so be patient. I promise it'll be worth the wait. Anyways, other than that, I just wanted to say that the winners of the giveaway that I have are posted on Twitter. If you guys have won, please contact me via Twitter or description. I'll leave the link to the tweet down in the comment section below, in the pinned comment more specifically. So anyways, I just wanted to say thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, would you kindly drop a like? It helps the video get out there and it helps the channel grow. If you're new here and enjoy the content, would you kindly subscribe? We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers and we're actually gaining subs at a pretty rapid rate. So thank you guys so very much. Other than that, if you want to follow me on Twitter or my Instagram or join my Discord server, all 3 links will be down in the description below for you guys to go check out. Anyways, thank you all again for watching, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Take care.